Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. In today's video, I've got 8 fantastic fresh fragrances for under $50. These are fragrances that I've yet to mention this summer that are perfect for the season, and I wanted to give them some chance in the spotlight. A few of them are discontinued, but I've seen them popping up at places like eBay and Mercari for the under $50 price point. All of these can be had for that range for the 100 ml bottles, and I'm going to start off right away with one that you can get for $20 at the discounters currently. This is Capucci Pour Homme. So shout out to Dan, Mr. Smelly, put me onto this one originally. Really one of the best high-quality, realistic citruses that you can get in the $20 price range. The only caveat with this one is that it does have a little bit of a more old-school appeal. This is going in the same direction as fragrances like the original Eau Sauvage EDT from Dior, as well as Armani Pour Homme from Giorgio Armani. So you get that classic green vintage style appeal with that Italian citrus going on. This also brings to the table a little bit of this almost cola-like feeling with a tobacco note in here. Kind of moves the fragrance in that same direction that you might get from something like Guerlain's Vetiver, where it creates this earthy kind of dark dirtiness underneath of an otherwise very clean fragrance. This is less soapy vetiver and more bright aromatic green citruses, but this is, in my opinion, one of the best quality fragrances that you can get in the $20 price range. I've seen it at Joma Shop for around that mark, and if you are not averse to the more old school vintage style fragrances, then this one is going to be one definitely worth checking out. One of the, like I said, highest quality sub $20 fragrances that I've got in my collection. Next one right here, another one that has eluded me as of late, but I plan on wearing it quite a bit moving into the August season. It's when I really like to reach for the more citrus woody fragrances, whereas June is more green citrus, and then July more aquatic. Woods is something that I'm moving into as the air starts to dry out during August, and this one is going to be no stranger to my rotation then. This is Lalique White, and this kind of is a really nice citron, I think, is the citrus that they use in here, over the top of something that's almost like a pencil shavings. Definitely kind of puts me in the mood of an office setting or maybe school. It reminds me of going up to the pencil sharpener, getting my pencil nice and sharpened. It has that nice cedary quality going on underneath of that bright citrus. There's a little bit of a rindy quality here to it as well, so you get that green aspect of the citrus going on. And Lalique really never misses. They're one of the best quality fragrances for the affordable price range, and then this one is really quite a little bit of a gem. Easy to wear and not quite the best longevity. None of them in this list quite are. They're definitely a little bit more of the effervescent side, but this is a really great woody citrus fragrance that I think more people need to get their nose on. It's definitely one that I don't really see talked about as much anymore, but is quite a gem, and you get the whole 4.2 ounce bottle with this one right into that $30 to $40 price range. Next one is another one that was very hyped at one point. There was a time where it was almost sold out everywhere because it was getting so much hype. I think that was maybe like 2 years ago, 2 summers past. Pretty readily available now. You can even find this one out at the rack stores right in that $20 to $30 range. This is Hugo Reversed. So I've seen this one compared to Roja's Elysium. I don't get that at all, really. If you're interested in getting something that's kind of a clone of that that's not in the Middle Eastern market, I would say check out Mercedes-Benz Silver. But this one is a really nice, almost sticky feeling, gummy, a sweet citrus. It's definitely sort of like a gym style fragrance for me. It's very easy, light. I don't want to say like ozonic, but it does have this just very airy quality to it. Very effusive, very transparent, but also at the same time sweet and pleasant. And a little bit of a sticky quality. Yeah, the texture in here just reminds me of something a little bit almost like a popsicle getting on your hands or something like that. Just a little bit of this sticky quality, but it's not in a very offensive way or something that would detract from its freshness. It just has this really nice, almost like soapiness coming in. There is a vetiver in here that I think some people might have associated with the Elysium, but otherwise just a very simple fragrance. Citrus, a little bit of this nice grounding quality from the vetiver in here, and then an otherwise just sweet aroma. Very simple fragrance, but one that I really enjoy just throwing on for, you know, just out of the shower, maybe running some errands, going to the gym, like I said, is one that I would rock this one for that occasion. Definitely a reason that it was hyped at one point and worth checking out. Definitely scoop it up if you see it at the rack store. Next one is one that I haven't mentioned on the channel just because I've got a lot of other high quality versions of this DNA, but if you are on a budget or honestly just don't feel like spending that much money for something that evaporates quite quickly, go with this one, Choo Man Ice. So this kind of riffs off of Pour Homme cologne, which is what I would recommend if you have the money to pick it up. The Pour Homme cologne and this are very, very similar. The Dior, however, just has this little bit more of a cooling tone to it from more realistic citrus and maybe some rindy elements from those citruses that give it a little bit more of a quality that can cut through the humidity and heat. But this one is no slouch at all and is a lot more easy on the conscience to spray around liberally, and you can even find the 200 ml bottles of this for under $50. So really awesome, nice lemonade in a bottle. Definitely is articulated quite well by the presentation, and anybody that has tried this one knows that it is a really awesome summer cheapie, and something that, even though I think the Pour Homme cologne and some other things like maybe Roja's Oceania are better to have in the collection, this is definitely one that I would pick up if you're not trying to spend big bucks for something that's very fleeting in terms of its longevity. So Choo Man Ice, a classic. Haven't mentioned it on the channel yet this summer, however, and it definitely needed a point in the spotlight. Next one, this one also goes into a little bit of that old school feel. It definitely has a very green overtone. It does remind me of things like Eau Sauvage by Dior, and it's another one of those fragrances similar to Mugler Cologne and Mont Blanc Individual, which Creed ripped off and cloned niche version instead of the other direction. This is Eau de Rochas, and the Creed version is Neroli Sauvage, I believe is the name of their take on this. Very much a photorealistic lemon. This is perhaps one of the most photorealistic lemons that I have in any fragrance out of my entire collection. To some extent, it's a little bit off-putting to some noses because the lemon is so realistic it kind of comes off as a cleaning product to some. But for me, this is just very nice, approachable, easy to wear. It's got that little bit of a green touch to kind of balance out the lemon and make it a little bit more of a well-rounded scent profile. As you can see, I got quite a good little dent in there, and something that I enjoy spraying on. It's taken a backseat to some testing that I've been doing this summer and just wearing things like Eau Sauvage Cologne, which goes pretty similar to this scent profile, but that's a $100 fragrance. You can find this one, the 50 mLs for right around $30, and then they do have these 100 mLs. They're a little bit rare to find the 100 mLs of this one. I haven't seen them pop up as often, but you can usually find those for the sub $50 price range as well, especially the testers, which come with a cap. So that's Eau de Rochas, a really high quality, cheapy brand. Almost anything from them is worth checking out for the under $50 price point. Next one, another one that I have not mentioned, I don't think, or at least I haven't featured in a video at all on my channel, let alone just this summer. So shout out to Sam Broom who put me onto this one. This is L'Eau de Pour Homme Eau Fraiche, and this one is discontinued, but I've seen it popping up at places like eBay and Mercari for under $50 for the 100 ml, and I think right now would be a great time to check this one out. So one of the reasons this has taken a little bit of a back seat on the channel is because there is another fragrance, Taus 1920 the origin, Eau de Toilette, which modernizes the original L'Eau de Pour Homme DNA. And this one also does that. It takes a little bit of that kind of old school 90s floral component and strips the original L'Eau de DNA, and this one puts in a lot more of the aromatic touches, a little bit more approachable of a sharp citrus instead of that kind of dewy floral quality that can be a little dated at times, and is just a rather stunning fragrance overall. I just tend to gravitate towards the Taus because it's got some more of the mass appealing qualities like a heavy dose of ambroxan, which you don't get in here. This overall is much higher quality than the Taos fragrance, a lot more natural and a lot more appealing to somebody that's a fragrance aficionado. Doesn't quite have the compliment factor that I would say that the Taos has, but this one still is no slouch in that department either, and is definitely worth scooping up now before it turns into the same price range as other discontinued Loewe, such as Ombre Noir or Orançance. This is a really nice, high quality, fresh, invigorating, and just beautiful scent. Something that I think I'm going to have to give a little bit more attention to as well going into the August season. There's also a little bit of this Sprite quality in here. It has this fizzy, carbonated, textural feel in here that the original does not quite have. And it's not an ambroxan-y style texture static that you get from the Taos. So definitely check this one out. Thank you, Sam Broom, for putting me onto this one. Really high quality, affordable fragrance. And then this next one is also discontinued, but I've seen it going for the $50-ish price range on places like eBay and Mercari. And really nice, simple, and easy to wear, but unique. This is Noble Fig from Ferrari. So definitely goes into a little bit of a different direction than other fig fragrances that I featured on the channel, like Un Jardin and Mediterranee, Fico di Amalfi, Diptyques Velocicos. This one has just a lot more of an easy, approachable, kind of nice, fresh cologne feel. It just has that more of like a fresh citrusy vibe and a slight subtle sweetness from the fig going on. I really disheartened that Ferrari stopped making fragrances because they had some of the absolute best quality cheapies that had ever been, in my opinion. You could usually get these bottles for around the $20 mark back when they were in production. But at $50, I still think almost anything from this line, including Bright Neroli, which I think is better than a lot of the other, you know, Tom Ford Neroli Portofino clones out there. If you can find that one for under $50, scoop that one up as well, but I haven't seen that one really drop under the $70 price point on the resellers. But Noble Fig, a really high quality, easy to wear fig fragrance that I think is worth getting your nose on and wanted to give a shout out to on the channel this summer. And then finally, the last one is another one that I've strayed away from mentioning a little bit just because it, like the Capucci Pour Homme and the Eau de Rochas, has a little bit of an old school appeal, but I think is very nice, gentlemanly, dandy, easy to wear, has a cooling tone from a geranium note and goes into a barbershop direction that is applicable for the summertime, which often the barbershop genre gets a little bit heavy with the overdose of lavender and maybe some powdery style patchoulis or tonka beans. But this one is easily wearable in the high heat for that genre, which is nice. This is Azzaro Pour Homme Low. So you get a little bit of this sour, unique yuzu note in here, similar to the Loewe Pour Homme line. So yuzu is I don't want to say divisive note, but you have to get behind it because it does have this little bit of a twang going on to it. But otherwise, this gets pretty similar to Rive Gauche Pour Homme from YSL. It has a similar sort of fresh quality coming in from that heavy geranium note, and then otherwise a really beautiful citrus that just brightens this up and makes it super easy to wear in that high heat environment despite being a barbershop style fragrance. So very classy, cheapy. You can find this one for around $30 still on the discounters. And I know that people that do not have an aversion to the old school scent profile really do hold this one in high regard. I know I've seen my boy Swain Swaggy Scents rock this one. Again, Mr. Smelly, this is one of his favorites for the spring and summer season. And definitely worth checking out, getting your nose on, especially if you're a fan of the barbershop genre, because this is one of the few that is wearable in the high heat situations. So those were 8 underrated, affordable fragrances for the summertime. Let me know if there's any other fragrances that might fit into this category that you've been rocking this summer. Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, I really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.